Lost in Vivo. Such an interesting game that you are. I have been a massive fan of Silent Hill and everything about that franchise for about as long as I can remember. So throughout the years of all of the mishandling and mistreatment by Konami wanting to basically forget its entire existence, it is pretty understandable to be left with a giant void inside of us where our hearts once were of wanting another installment, or even just something that somewhat resembles Silent Hill and its ethereal world. That spooky and unsettling, claustrophobic, foggy setting that makes you completely unsure if it's even in this world or not. The haunting enemies from the depths of our subconscious to the arrangement of sounds that creep deep into your bones, boils your blood, while at the same time mellowing your mind into oblivion. A simple concept of a game that truly makes you question its reality and really gets into your head. A true psychological horror, done right in every way. The developers from Kyra saw the things that we lost and decided to pull the ultimate bro move and take matters into their own hands by delivering to us everything that made Silent Hill great while giving us something entirely new with its own twistedly haunting personality that definitely stands well on its own. On November 5th, 2018, they gave us Lost in Vivo. In all honesty, I am completely unaware on how I even came to find this game, but if I am being real, I believe the game found me. This game is many things and many more, and I think remarkably chilling is the best and only way to describe it. Lost in Vivo follows an extremely simple story. Starting and playing as an unnamed character, you never actually catch a glimpse of anything that this character is, so the ambiguity really sets in so you can truly insert yourself into the shoes of the protagonist. On one stormy and unfortunate day, you are taking your loyal service dog, Danny, for a walk down the street as you have done many times before. Service for what? We don't know. But all we know is that this pupper is damn important to you. A storm picks up, and your faithful companion suddenly gets swept away into the sewers. And in that heartbreaking last moment together, you watch as your best friend unwillingly slips away into the unknown. In a moment of swift panic, as any sane person would, you heroically venture down to where your doggo disappeared to retrieve her back. And that is where the game starts and where you truly get lost in Vivo. You're thrown into the land of the unknown, and that is where you start your adventure. You will quickly notice how tight these spaces are, and that is a theme that stays throughout your playthrough. Claustrophobia. It induces anxiety and at many times confusion, as it is complemented with the N64 style graphics that give everything an extra edge to them, as everything you encounter has really rough and jagged designs, almost coming across as unfinished and unrendered to the modern eye. But to their advantage, that is not the case. Your anxiety is heightened with the soundscapes that take hold through your headphones. This game is best played with headphones, as the frequencies chosen will bleed right into your eardrums to quite literally send chills down your entire body and stay there while inducing goosebumps that don't seem to settle. With there being 3D sounds, you would genuinely believe when something is right behind you, feeling the hairs on the back of your neck stand right up. There would be times I would just be standing there, just minding my own, and the things I would hear would have me feeling genuine fear. I genuinely don't know what's more unnerving, the uncomfortable sounds of Vivo or the complete lack of whenever there is an absence of that. The sound designer truly knows what he is doing and knows how to induce all of the right emotions or wrong emotions. When the soundtrack gives you lighter and easier to listen to tones, and believe me, it does. It is some of the nicest sounds to ever bless your ears. Your first trip to the save room will have you hiding there, basking in the tranquility that it provides to you, as it gives you that moment of relief that you so desperately need from your conquest. Throughout your journey, you will pick up various items used to combat the numerous enemies you encounter set within their own different environments. A common complaint is how your items just float there and you see nobody holding them. Well, I find no ill feelings here, as that is all up to you and your imagination to fill in those gaps to be the hero that you need to be, or the damn soul that you were destined to be. The enemies have a knack of popping up out of nowhere, and with their incredibly janky movements, it can and will be truly frightening. I have had my fair share of genuine screams while my entire body is in panic mode from the sounds that they emit and the images that they are. Though the enemies aren't too hard to defeat, they're only barely an inconvenience, a minor speed bump if you will. That is until the things you encounter later in the game. I gotta admit and hand it to the developers for their designs of the enemies. I honestly never thought that trains could be terrifying, or mirrors for that matter, with how steadily they charge at you. With this being my very first game that I've played through using the keyboard as a controller, it made my experience that much more jarring, and made escaping from certain enemies and the abysmal hell I was trapped within that much more difficult and terrifying. The level designs are also spot on as well, to the common sewers, laboratories, dungeons, cabin in the woods, motels, subway stations, subway cars moving at 100 miles per hour. This game has it all, and it never lets up for 1 second. The colors that they choose to light up these areas definitely provoke some dark emotions and feelings that have you think twice about wanting to proceed. This game truly puts an emphasis on psychological, as it really gets into your head, as it will trick you with fake saving stations, in-game glitches, a fake out end credit scene, and also truly disorientating you by changing which direction you head in and altering your surroundings if you choose to turn around to backtrack, which sometimes will definitely be needed in order to progress. It really makes you wonder what is real and what isn't. You can't have a psychological horror game, or any horror game for that matter, without puzzles. And you are definitely served with some interesting ones for you to figure out. Sometimes things don't feel like they're progressing, but if you keep moving forward, much to your surprise, you will indeed progress. By the time you reach the end of the game, you're faced with 4 different endings, and with the amount of time and dedication you put into retrieving Danny, the one good ending is the only shimmer of hope that is left inside you. I am so thankful I retrieved the good ending and was reunited with her, because I was not ready to go back down there and repeat all of this again just to know that that goddamn dog is safe. Lost in Vivo is many things. It's heartbreaking, horrifying, claustrophobic, nightmare fuel, absolutely bone-chilling, tense, heroic, heartwarming, and not to mention an underrated psychological masterpiece. It really puts an emphasis on the great lengths you will go through to save what is considered man's best friend, and the pure dedication we have towards them, as sometimes, more often than not, we are quite literally bending over backwards for these furry creatures, even though they're little shits who can quite literally drag you through hell and back. Thanks, Danny. You are one good girl. Now please stay away from any and all storm sewers because I am not doing this again.